Betsy Alper. I live in Centerville. Well, I grew up here in downtown Hyannis, born and raised right here. And it was great being able to be a kid and ride our bikes down to Main Street and go to Candy Corner and the peanut shop and all the fun stores that were on Main Street, and feeling very safe and secure riding our bikes with my friends, you know, as a young child, 10, 11, 12. We did that all the time. That's where we were. And going to Kennedy Rink, that was my most favorite times of my life. Spent all my years there growing up, since I was probably, well, I started skating at 3 and continued on skating till I had my first child. So. Well, when I was growing up, the roof was on the Kennedy Rink, but when my brother and sister were growing up, the roof was not on the Kennedy Rink. So I was lucky enough to skate under a roof. So the Kennedy Rink, it was the best place ever. All my friends and I, we skated every single day that the rink was open. I worked there as a skate guard. My husband worked there as a skate guard. That's actually where we met. And so it just, the best memories. We were called the Rink Rats. It was great. It was great. Wow. Really good. Just the best 4 years ever was, for me anyways, and my friends. We had great times and we had great teachers, and it was just it was a wonderful time to be in the town of Barnstable and going to school here, and we were all very happy and content.
Tell me about some of your teachers.
Well, I had Len Gobiel as my speech teacher. He's wonderful. And I had Mr. Thayer, and I had Suzanne Erickson, my biology teacher. Jill Murphy was one of my English teachers. Ann Everson was one of my English teachers. Mr. Laboulier I had for accounting. And I think he's still there at Barnstable High School, even to this day. Mr. Warney was our principal. Mr. Cornforth was our dean. I was the field hockey manager and the girls track manager. And I skated every day that the rink was open. I mean, that's what I did. That was kind of my hobby. And worked. I always worked.
What was your first job in Barnstable?
My first job was at Piccadilly Deli on Main Street in Hyannis. When I was either 13 or 14, I bussed tables there.
Who were the owners?
The D'Olimpios, Fee and Addie D'Olimpio, and Philip was their son ran, Jamie and Philip ran the deli. Yep, I went to Cape Cod Community College, got my retail management degree, graduated in '86, it was June of '86, and 4 days after I graduated was our wedding. So it was a very exciting time that week. And I worked for my mother-in-law at Mulberry Corners in Osterville. Ross works for the Sheriff's Department. He's been there 31 years. Loves his job, loves everyone he works with. Uh, 30 years ago in the village of Osterville, the village hasn't changed that much. It's still a great, great community, great shopping, fabulous restaurants, wonderful people. You have your local hardware store that's still there. the gas station that's down the street. I mean, it's just it's a great community of people. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone helps everyone out if each other's families, and it's a great community in Osterville. I loved being there. I was there for 30 years. My mother-in-law owned Mulberry Corners, and I started working for her right before we got married, and when I was 20, actually 19, actually, I hadn't turned 20 yet, and started working for her and worked for her for 15 years. She unfortunately passed away, and then Ross and I inherited the business, and I ran it for another 15 years. Well, it changed dramatically. I would have to say 2001 is when we inherited it, and we inherited it 2 weeks before September 11th. And the people that traveled, of course, stopped traveling quite a bit. There were, not so many people going on vacations and things. And it was just a different time. And then all of a sudden, a few years down the road, the internet was a big way for people to shop, and I feel that that really does hurt the brick and mortar stores, especially the single, mom and pop stores, as I call them, that have been around for generation after generation. The internet definitely does hurt retail. Not every retail, but the standalone stores, it can hurt. That has changed dramatically because people, younger people today, they live by their phones. Their phones are with them 24/7, and if I don't think they shop the way that someone in their 60s or 70s age-wise would shop, because they knew to go into stores. They grew up going into stores with their mothers or their grandmothers, and they knew good quality things. But now, the younger generation today, they're not really. They have more disposable type items. Sure. It's not about going and getting their first suit or something for their interview, for a job interview. Absolutely, yeah. You get to know your customers really, really well. You become like family with them. Whether they're coming in to buy anything or not, they just come in to say hi and see how everyone's doing. And it's just a nice camaraderie with customers that you've waited on for 30 years. Business definitely has changed in the last 5 years, I would have to say. And, economy-wise since 2008, and, just things just started. Unfortunately, the people that I waited on 30 years ago, unfortunately, some of them have passed away. So, and it's difficult. Retail is difficult. That's why I'm a big advocate for shop local. Shop local is #1 in my heart, because I see how hard it is for these shops to survive, the long winters, and have a very short season. It gets shorter and shorter every year. So, I do go to the mall for some things, but I try to stay with people that like Hanlon shoes or Redfish, Bluefish, or the Shift Boutique. Amanda's a good friend of mine, and so just different stores locally. I try to support Soho Arts. Well, there's 2 exciting days. I have to say the day that we graduated Barnstable High School, and we graduated in the old Kennedy rink, because of course Kennedy rink is true and dear to my heart. So now they don't have, now we don't have the rink anymore, so they have graduation on the football field at the high school. But those were very exciting times, graduation day. And then we did skate the last day that Kennedy Rink was open. That was another special day to me. That was really special. And there were a lot of friends there that day with us that we all grew up with, and that was really nice, really nice. I have two favorite places, Millway Beach overlooking the Sandy Neck cottages and the lighthouse. And my other favorite place is the Highness Port Club. The sunsets are amazing up on the hill, and I did grow up there. My parents were members there, and actually Ross and I got married there. So it's one of my most favorite spots on the Cape. It goes back to my great-great-grandparents being here. I know that my great-grandparents owned property on 6A in Comaquid, all the way from 6A all the way back to the ocean. I do know that. My grandmother told me, my father's mother, that they unfortunately had to sell the property in the Depression, during the Depression years, which is too bad. But they had a lot of acreage over there in Comaquid. My grandmother worked for Hinckley's as a bookkeeper, and my grandfather worked for Cape and Vineyard, which was the electric company. He used to climb poles for them, so. They do. And actually my grandmother, my father's mother, who lived to be 100, luckily, I recorded her one day talking about growing up in Hyannis and where they lived. They lived where the 7-Eleven is today, next to Burger King. That's where their house was. And she tells me about Main Street Hyannis and all the different stores. She walks me down Main Street Hyannis and all the different stores. When Feline's was on Main Street, Peck and Peck were on Main Street, and she tells me about the really, really early days of Main Street Hyannis. And my mother's family came from Centerville.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
My mother's maiden name is Fish. And my grandfather owned a gas station right at the corner of the lights where Four Seas Ice Cream is, and heading to Craigville Beach. He owned a gas station there. And their main house was on the way to Craigville Beach on the left-hand side. And my grandmother rented out rooms there to summer guests.
Really?
Yep. So a lot of history in this town. I've never lived anywhere else but this town. Never. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how the town has changed, but it's still a great town. Wouldn't want to live anywhere else but the town of Barnstable. Josh was 25, and he works for the Sheriff's Department as a 911 dispatcher, and he has a house in Mashpee. And Madison is 20, and she's going into her junior year at Framingham State College, studying psychology and criminology and sign language. She can't quite decide what she wants to do. They definitely, I think, will come. I think Maddie will definitely come back to the Cape. Josh is here. He's, loves his job. He loves his house. He's definitely here. He's here to stay. Madison, I have no idea what she'll decide to do once she gets done with Framingham State, but she works for the town. She always has worked for the town, and she loves working for Patty and John. She loves it. She loves working for the town.
Half-year-old?
Yes, we are.
What a difference that's got to be.
Yeah, that is definitely. We sent Maddie off to college, and 60 days later, my great-nephew came to live with us. So, and he was a year old. So yes, it was quite a shocker to have a baby in the house again. So it's been very exciting to have him with us. We love having him. He's great. And we can't imagine our lives without him. And we have a great support system of friends and family who, you know, help us with him. So we don't miss out on anything else that the other kids are doing. So
Sure.
it's good. It's all good.
From
Yep.
Barnstable High School?
He's definitely going to graduate from Barnstable High School, just like all of us have. My parents graduated from Barnstable High School, my grandparents graduated from Barnstable High School, and my great-grandparents did as well. So, and I have a big dedication to celebration, the after prom party. I've been doing that for off and on for 20 years. We just had our 20th year.
Tell us about that.
It's a safe after prom party that the community puts on for the seniors and their guests all night long. We're there from 11 at night till 5 in the morning, and the community donates food and raffle prizes, and we fundraise all year long. It costs us between $20,000 and $30,000 to put on that night for the seniors. It's kind of our senior send-off, we call it. And we just want to keep them in a safe place and make sure they stay, you know, safe without. It was started by a group of parents 20 years ago after a car accident that claimed the life of a student from Barnstable High. So, and you know, I unfortunately lost a friend when we were juniors at Barnstable to a drunk driving accident. So it's very dear to my heart to keep contributing, even though my kids have graduated already, to keep contributing in some way to celebration. We have 400 that check in to, you know, after they leave the prom, they have to be into celebration no later than midnight. They only have an hour between prom and celebration to get there. It's held at the high school. And they get breathalyzed when they walk in, and they have permission slips from their parents. And I mean, it's an important thing for us to do for these kids because we do want to keep them safe, and we don't want anything. I mean, some of them do leave in the middle of the night, and we do call their parents and tell them, look, they've decided to leave, and you know, we're not responsible for them anymore. But most of them stay. Highness Honda gives us $2,000 every year. They've been wonderful. So many other places have given us donations as well, families and businesses. And we give out prizes, you know, concert tickets, and one student gets $1,000, another student gets $500, and then 2 students get $250 each. And we do dorm refrigerators and gift cards and all different things from all the local stores, businesses. You know what? It's, you know, they have the top 40 that's going on at Celebration. It's loud. We have a guys come in with a light up dance floor, and there's a karaoke room, and there's all different entertainment going on. We have a hypnotist at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the kids love that. We have face painting and henna tattoos. I mean, there's so much for them to do. It keeps them going for, you know, the 5 hours that we keep them there. The music, I mean, I grew up with roller skating rinks, 2 roller skating rinks here in Hyannis that we were at all the time besides Kennedy Rink. So we grew up in a disco era, really, the late 70s and 80s. And so it's, I mean, the music's changed, but as long as you can dance to it, then it's good.
What challenge?
Well, their decisions to stay on the right path, I think, is a big challenge for them. And I think that they, you know, if they want to reach a certain goal, they can do it. There's enough teachers and support system at the high school to lead them on the right path to go forward and go to college, and you know, parents that are involved with their kids and sport activities and you know, drama club or whatever they choose to do. You know, it's out there for these kids if they're willing to choose that road. So you just have to take an interest in your child and make sure they go the right path. And cross your fingers too. Fall happens to be my favorite season. I love when it's time, you know, back to school and you start getting the cooler nights and, you know, the traffic starts to dwindle a little bit. I think it's a great season. The fall here on the Cape is the best. We go to hockey games. We go to hockey games. Our daughter played ice hockey for many years, and my husband was a coach for a couple of years for the girls hockey team. So we still have lots of friends that have daughters that are playing hockey. So that's what we do. Boys and girls hockey. I shouldn't just say the girls, but. It's wonderful to be recognized for being in the village for 30 years. I mean, I think it's a wonderful thing that OBPA does. To anyone that's retiring, whether you've been there 5 years or 30 years, they definitely have you come to a meeting and they recognize you, which I think is really great. It's a great organization and glad I've been part of it for 30 years. It's really, really, really nice. Really nice. Betsy Alper, live in Centerville, grew up in Hyannis.